Yes, yes. Welcome in, Balloon Party, 101 ESPN. My name is Timothy Michael McKernan. Today I'm joined by a gentleman from Ladue High School, class of 2016. His name is Jackson Bennett Burkett, and he will be hosting the Lil Piddles Friday six-shooter.
That's right. 8 years since I've been in high school. It's kind of wild.
30 for me.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel? It shouldn't make you feel anything. It should make me feel weird.
I'll get there one day.
You know, I once was the young buck. Ladies wanted to be like me, and men wanted to be with me.
Mm-hmm.
And now...
Still the same, right? Just different age group.
Yeah, I guess so.
The same people that wanted to be with you then
Yeah,
want to be
more
more
like
with you now.
Brio after the family lawyer meeting scene.
Yeah, but that's, you're adaptable.
Right.
Like you're good at Wheelhouse and you're good at Brio.
That's
and
right.
everything in between.
Absolutely. Wide Delta. Jackson, I was like, hey, man, if I need to put $35 out there for a deep dive today in a Venmo, I'll do it. And then you confidently came over the top and said, no. I like my Lil Piddles Friday six-shooter because I have two surveys. Not one, but two surveys.
Two surveys, that's right.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what you're going to survey me on, but I am ready to be surveyed. Is this audience participation as well?
Yeah,
I want the audience active, especially in that YouTube chat. But is the Great Bape Auto Detailing, let me know. I don't know if I've been showing enough love to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. I mean, the Air Comfort Service text line is the foundation of this program.
That's right. That's right. And it's what built us to what we are today.
Amen.
Which is, of course, the best.
The most powerful 1 hour midday show in mid-market radio.
Yeah. Based in the Central Corridor, 100%.
Thank you. Okay, well,
Let's
survey me.
All right, we're going to start with hockey. We're going to start with the Blues.
Well, getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, that's the best.
No game to talk about last night?
Nope. But we're looking, this is the Lil Piddles Hockey Outlook Survey. And here are the following questions for you, Tim.
All right.
Are you confident in the Blues' ability to contend in 2025?
No. My reason being, I think this is a process, and I don't think they're going to veer from the process in order for short-term return.
That's fair. That is fair.
I also do not believe Buchnevich will be part of the team. Now, hold on a second. Let me ask you this. I assume you mean 2024, 2025.
Yes.
Not 2025 like as
right.
in...
Because if I said 2025, like...
You'd say 2026.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
2025.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm bullish on the young players, but I don't think the young players, most of whom are not playing or have not played yet for the actual Blues, but they're part of the organization. But no, I think this is going to be a process. But I like it. I would be really confused if there wasn't any activity between now and next Friday in the trade deadline, and I just expect there to be. It'd be weird if there wasn't.
Yep.
I'm going to be in a tough spot. I'm going to the game tomorrow, taking my wife and both of my sons, and I, of course, want the Blues to win, but kind of deep down, I know that big
Probably
picture
better.
might be better if they lost. I mean, at this point, again, I still think Doug Armstrong's mind's made up. I don't think he's going to, they beat the Wild. Maybe I shouldn't. I think he's already made up his mind.
Yeah.
So you know what? Now I just decided I'm all full in on the Blues tomorrow.
All right. And Pat Maroon will not be on the bench.
Wow, you're actually bringing this up on Balloon Party. I thought you were going to keep this in our little septic tank down the hallway.
Nah.
Jackson asked me the question on TMA yesterday when I said, Patty Maroon, he's hurt, so he won't be playing when the Wild visit St. Louis and the hometown hero makes his return. And then Jackson asked me if injured hockey players sit on the bench with their team.
Yeah, like in
Your thoughts, 314-399-9646.
Yeah, it's done often in other sports. I just didn't know what the situation was.
Bench is a little tighter real estate
Yeah.
in the game of ice hockey.
Yeah, and it's a more dynamic bench, with on-the-fly substitution.
Sure.
That's I think all sports should adopt on-the-fly substitution. I think it's cool. Big ups to hockey. All right, next question.
Wow, look at you.
In my Lil Piddles Hockey Outlook survey.
What? Is that what the survey is? This is all hockey?
This survey, yeah, I got Cardinal one.
Man.
I got Cardinal
This
one.
guy, I'm telling you.
Do you think Drew Bannister is the right guy for the job for the foreseeable future?
My answer to that might sound like I'm going to give you an answer, but how I get there, you're just going to have to trust me.
I always trust you.
Okay. I think he could be, but if I had to bet, I don't think that's the direction it's gonna be.
Okay.
And here's how I'm going to play the handout for you if you're interested.
I am.
You know the names of the two coaches with the Bruins and the Maple Leafs.
Ooh. John and Dean Ellis. They're brothers, the Ellis brothers.
And one coaches the Leafs and one coaches the Bruins.
Yeah, it's
The
like the
Ellis
Harbaughs.
brothers. Where in the hell did you even come up with that?
It's the first things I could think of.
Really,
and
like
Dean.
Glass, George Glass,
Yeah,
Ellis, Dean Ellis.
Yeah, John and Dean Ellis.
All right.
Is that not the case?
Those brothers used to coach the teams
Right.
back in the original Six era. But now it's former Blues coach Jim Montgomery, assistant, former Stars coach from Patty Maroon, who will not be sitting on the bench in a suit tomorrow.
Which,
You think he should?
it just shows support. And he's a big glue guy, big personality. I think the boys would really appreciate
All right.
him being close to the ice.
Well, then, like, one of the defensemen's going to be falling off the end of the bench.
Can he sit in like the little goalie seat that they have where they wear a New Era cap?
You ought to go down there and see if they can.
I got to talk to the goalies about wearing that cap on between the bench. That's a bad look.
I'd love to see that conversation. Here's my reasoning. I think they're going to go with whoever loses the first round matchup between the Bruins and the Leafs. Jim Montgomery, Sheldon Keefe. There's my play for you. You want to dart? It's not like this is even money, but I'll give you a little dart right there.
All right.
How about that? Because I think whoever loses that is going to be under fire, even though Montgomery has killed it in the regular season there. And he won the Jack Adams last year. And in Toronto, that's a situation anyway. And it's not a guarantee that they play each other in the first round, but it's probably at this moment likely. And so one of them's going out in the first round. That'd be another early exit for Montgomery. Keefe at least got him past the first round last year. But there's my play. There's my little dart for you that Armstrong's going to go with a more established guy.
Okay. Oh, you want me to put that in predictionary?
Well, I mean, it's like I'm like naming a coach of a current playoff team and a damn good playoff team. I mean, the Bruins or Leafs could win the cup, but the point is, because of the way the NHL playoffs are set up, they're going to play each other in the first round, or they could very well, and there isn't going to be a whole lot of satisfaction from their fan bases if one of them goes out in the first round. Well, guess what, brother? If one of them plays the other in the first round, somebody's got to lose.
I like the way you said that. Yeah. All right, next part of this Lil Piddles Hockey Outlook survey, and feel free to...
What a stunning development.
Yeah, feel free to text in your answers.
Question after question of Blues questions.
That's right.
What are you doing here today?
Bringing the
Is this
heat?
like your way to apologize for the Miracle on Ice take?
I just said that the coaches of the Maple Leafs and the Bruins were John and Dean Ellis. I don't think I'm doing anything.
At least you put a puck on net.
Yeah. One of them could have been named Dean. I feel like Dean's a common hockey
Dean
name.
Evison, formerly of the
Right.
Wild.
Is that so? Dean Evanson or Dean Nevinson?
Neither. Evison.
Evison. E?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
You're an
right.
educated man. I can't
know.
believe it took 3 questions to get there.
It's like one of those names that like kind of combines well.
Okay. Glass. George Glass.
George Glass, yeah. Hugh Glass. That was Leo's character in The Revenant.
Lexington Steel.
Well, what does he have to do with this?
Just giving names that I think work.
Yeah. Well, Leo had a situation with that bear. Either way.
Tom Hardy.
I love Tom Hardy. Do you think public opinion on Doug Armstrong has shifted this year?
I like this. Boy, you really...
That's what.
Did Jamie Rivers give this to you?
No.
You guys aren't talking.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I see him in the hallways, and I just,
Step aside.
Yeah, he's lucky I don't drop the gloves.
I bet he feels that way. Yeah, I think perhaps. Here's the thing. Let me put it to you this way, and I'll answer the question. Of course, I'm going to answer the question. What am I scared of?
I like when you go into Pesci.
If John Mozeliak, now imagine John Mozeliak saying, we are not one of the top teams in the National League, even though internally Cardinal fans are going, Cardinals aren't one of the top teams in the National League. Just imagine him saying, we're not one of the top teams in the National League. Our goal is to get to where the Dodgers and the Braves and the Phillies, and I guess now we say Diamondbacks, even though I'm still not sold on that, even though I know they won the pennant, but that'll get me going on the playoff format. So our goal is to get to their level. And this year, who knows? Maybe you get in the playoffs and we make a run, which is, but we want to see our guys start to develop. which is what Doug Armstrong said in mid-October. Do you agree with that premise, or am I building off a premise that you don't agree with?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
And then, now, Ali Marmol is to Craig Berube as to me and height. Craig Berube, beloved in St. Louis. Ali Marmol didn't have a whole lot of positive equity in the market this time last year, even though he's coming off a division championship.
Yep.
But people still were upset about game one against the Phillies. And then it trended down very quickly, the Tyler O'Neill thing. Some people were irritated by that, and then the season got away, and then even more people were irritated by him. So my point being, it's not apples to apples, because people in St. Louis loved Craig Berube, and they always will, and people in St. Louis don't necessarily have that affection for Ali Marmol. But with that said, just to try to draw a parallel here, Jackson, then John Mozeliak acknowledging the team's not very, is going to be a middle-of-the-road team. And then when the team 2 months into the season is a middle-of-the-road team, he whacks Ali Marmol, who, let's say, was really popular and won a World Series with the Cardinals, because that's what Berube did with the Stanley Cup in 2019. People be going, what the hell's Mozeliak doing? Well, that's what happened with Doug Armstrong. But I think with Doug Armstrong, I do think a lot of the hate on Mozeliak is just personality-based. I really do. But again, it's like kind of calling attention to, you don't like to talk about golf because it's socioeconomic and it's awkward for you. But I got to tell you what I think. This is also, no, it's not. But yeah, if he didn't wear a cardigan sweater tied around his neck, and he used like simpler words, I don't think he would get as much hate. Yeah. But taking that out of the equation, it would be tough to argue with like the overall moves Armstrong's made over the last decade. And don't get me wrong, you got some bad ones out there too. It's not like this is perfection. But then you look at the moves that the Cardinals have made. So I think Armstrong has more equity, and that's what it comes down to. But, you want to point out a bad Cardinal contract, take your pick of one of the past or one of the current. I don't know what other personalities are saying or writing. I feel like it's pretty obvious. I'm outspoken on what I think of the Kyrou situation, and I think it is a major problem for the organization, not because I think he's necessarily a major problem as an individual, but because of the contract he has as a guy who I don't think is going to live up to that deal. And you're just at the beginning of it. Well, he gave that to him. And at the time when that was given to him, I remember thinking, God, that's a little surprising to me, because it's kind of clear Berube isn't on board with him. That doesn't mean, in the NHL especially, you gear your roster toward your coach's preferences. But that told you something, especially in the NHL, if a coach is kind of hinting at a guy's effort individually. And because that isn't usually the way it goes there. They'll call out the team's effort, or, in particular, the power play tonight just didn't have the, what we wanted. Pop. But, I think that move in particular, and I think Kyrou, another year of, oh boy, 1 game's good, 5 games aren't. People are going, okay, I wonder about this thing. Here's the thing, though. We're talking about Doug Armstrong and his approval rating a week before the trade deadline, so it'd kind of be like talking about Mozeliak right at, July 31st. So I'm anxious to see what he does. I'll tell you this, as much as I would love to see him trade Buchnevich and Kyrou, or Buchnevich or Kyrou, I suppose I would rather him see trade Kyrou. I know a lot of people will be pissed if they do that, but I think it's the right move. Yeah. So he's in a tough spot in that sense, but it's the right move. And I'd expect Buchnevich to be traded. I'd be really surprised. I know. I'm not trying to mess around with you. I know you don't follow it that closely, but I have no idea why they wouldn't, unless they're like, okay, we are going to sign you and we are going to trade Kyrou, but we're just not doing it at the deadline. We'll do it in the offseason. Yeah. And so if that's the mindset, then that would make sense.
So if they don't do anything in the deadline, do you think that's where they're going to?
I think they'll definitely do something. But as far as like the big one being Buchnevich, and then who knows on Kyrou, I'm not expecting Kyrou at the deadline, but I am expecting Kyrou at some point soon. It's just not his. They don't hold serve. The Cardinals like to hold serve, and I think this market's tired of the holding serve thing.
Proactive versus reactive.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, the Cardinals were proactive with the free agent signings this year. They just were free agent signings that people are going, what in the world? For example, I don't know, what is it, 11 o'clock already?
It's 11:12.
I know I got a break, but there's a, you know what, I'll use it as a tease.
Let's do it.
There's a letter to Ken Rosenthal today asking about the Cardinals and Jordan Montgomery. I'll tell you what Ken Rosenthal says coming up on Balloon Party, 101 ESPN. Welcome back. This is Balloon Party, 101 ESPN. My name is Tim McKernan. That's Jackson Burkett. And Jackson has had a hockey-centric survey to start today's Balloon Party. Really kind of throwing a breaking ball. But here we're going to read a little letter to Ken Rosenthal on The Athletic, Jackson.
All right.
And for Cardinal fans who were perhaps hoping that the Cardinals would be having a conversation with Jordan Montgomery, and then maybe Montgomery would be apt to take a deal like what Cody Bellinger did with the Cubs. Ken Rosenthal gets a question from what appears to be a Cardinal fan. Otherwise, it would be a little strange. Jackson, Ken Rosenthal, when asked if Montgomery would take a deal like that to pitch for the Cardinals this year, he says Montgomery does not really want to go back to St. Louis. I was surprised to hear that.
Yeah, a little bit, but I can also understand not being, even if it's all business, and it almost always is, a team that trades you away. You might have some sour thoughts on it. I don't know. And maybe he didn't enjoy his time as much here in St. Louis. I don't know how you couldn't. We live in this is a booming metropolis in my mind.
Wow.
What?
I mean,
I can't even be candid anymore.
Yeah, I picked up the sarcasm, and you know what? I know some people say our best days are behind us.
Oh, here comes a load.
I'm sure you've said that before.
Oh, look at this.
But I say our best days are in front of us. So to Jordan Montgomery's persona non grata with me.
That's right. Yeah, he's not welcome. We didn't want him anyways.
Right.
We want Steven Matz, baby, a guy who wants to be here.
That headline, I'm telling you, if I'm ever on a high, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, things are looking up. I go to the Post-Dispatch sports page, and I'm like, oh boy. Yeah. And the front page story today was Cardinals have their reasons for going slowly with or deliberately with Steven Matz. I'm going, oh boy, what in the world?
That just eases all of our minds when they're being deliberate.
Here's the Billikens and Rhode Island preview. What do we got with Missouri and Ole Miss? Oh, God. I say our best days are in front of us.
This is like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
So there it is. Ken Rosenthal says Montgomery and coming here because they don't want to come here. So deal with that, Jackson. What's your you've got this hockey-centric question.
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah.
I got two more, actually, to finish out the...
wow, look at you.
The hockey moment.
Did Rivers lift you up and throw you against the wall?
I don't think he's got the thigh strength for all that. I'm a lot of man.
I wish he was here at this time. And that door swings open.
Oh, listen, look at this hand. Is it shaking at all? Not even a little.
It isn't.
Not even a little.
I think it would if that door swung open.
Nah. I think Stalter could pack more of a punch for doing fighter rankings. Maybe
Marshy is being found at fighter ranking.
Marshy's got a lot of reach. All right.
Yeah, he would be dangerous.
Yeah. I get Rocky on that big head of his. All right, I'm sorry. I'm wasting time. For the Blues, what do you think has been their biggest regret over the last 5 years? The biggest regret?
Ship it. I don't even need to tell you. You know this.
I know where you're going to go, but there's some others that would be in contention.
Well, that's great, but you asked me for the biggest one.
Okay.
So you could go outside of the obvious one. What would some others be? But, I mean, let's make sure we're on the same page here.
Jordan Kyrie's contract.
No.
Okay. All right. So this is a point for Jackson here.
No, because you gave the wrong answer. I can't give you a point.
David Perron.
This isn't CBC. No.
Okay. Then this means it's a good question.
No, this means you just don't have any knowledge of what's going on with the organization.
Both can be true. Both can be true.
Let me just open up the text inbox and make sure that we're on the same page here with Petrangelo.
Yeah, it's giving him to Edmonton.
Giving him to Edmonton in the Eric Brewer trade. That's what it was.
Okay.
No. That was the moment.
All right.
That was the moment. What do you scare? Okay. What do you like? What is your counterpoint?
I think it's pretty clear that I'm not as much in the know.
But you're the Cairo. I'm like, no, I think there are plenty of Blues fans who are good with that, actually. And I think also some Blues fans are like, yeah, they were in a spot there and it wasn't. But I think if they could go back, that was the moment. And, and I also think that, and I have to tell you, I mean, when you're aggressive, sometimes you're not going to win the pot. Sometimes you shove on the flush draw and you don't hit that ace of spade on the river, Jackson. But it was the right mathematically. Yeah. It was the right mathematically. And we're not results-oriented in this show, nor do we kink shame.
Okay.
Nor do we know who coaches the Bruins or Maple Leafs.
They don't coach in St. Louis.
But we do know who coaches the Timberwolves.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. Top seed? Number 2 seed? You don't know him? Nice show prep.
Hold on. I don't.
Used to be Flip Saunders' son, but he got ousted. I know that. Anyway, that's not what anybody wants to hear about. I've distracted Jackson enough to be able to finish this answer. And here is the answer.
Oh, yeah, I'm a real Achilles heel on this one.
Here is the deal.
Chris Finch.
There it is. Everybody in the audience knew it. All you do is proving it. I like the aggression, but the Torrey Krug Insta-ship thing, like, 24 hours after Pietrangelo signed before he decided to go to Edmonton with the Vegas Golden Knights, I was just like, that one, I was just like, oh, I don't know. Mm-hmm. In the moment, I was like that. Right. I kind of had the sense that Pietrangelo was gone, but then I was like, oh, wow. And again, it's not personal. It's just like, I just felt like there was a little emotion involved in that.
Right.
And I think it was on both sides. And I doubt at this point, I don't know, maybe he would. I mean, he just won another cup. But, still spending time in St. Louis, Pietrangelo, I don't know. I don't know if they could, go back. Would they try to get their way through that and sign an extension? Because it was just a domino effect. Something that wasn't anybody's fault was Jay Bouwmeester, and then you got Parayko in a spot that I don't think he's necessarily suited for, and he was better paired with Bouwmeester. But, I mean, and now I'm getting in a situation that was a health situation. That's not anybody's fault. But, yeah, I think that's the move. I mean, if you're talking about a move that they could wind up hating, the Kyrou play, I think that's a debacle. But I think the Pietrangelo thing would still stand out as being bigger.
Okay.
I fear the Kyrou contract.
Okay. So you think that maybe in the future it could be viewed that way, but...
I suppose if they keep him and he just winds up doing nothing, oh my goodness. I mean, he's already got, and there've been issues with him and the fan base this year, as we saw. But but there were already issues there before that even happened with the Berube comments. And it's about consistency. It's about a perception of not playing a 200-foot game. So, if you got that on the books, you got to get return on that. And if it ain't going to happen, that's a problem. And that's why I circle it. Hey, man, I'd love to be wrong on that thing. I would love to be wrong on that thing. Because they're hitting on Robert Thomas, so it's not like I'm an anti-long-term contract guy. Robert Thomas looks like you're going to get return and then some.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and then the Perron one would be more of a micro one. I don't think with David Perron, all of a sudden the Blues go from where they were last year to a playoff team. But in particular on that one, that set the stage for fans' consternation in the 2022-2023 season. Right. With fans going, why wouldn't they bring back David Perron? And then the team just is a mess right from the get-go. But as far as you're talking about a big long-term effect that could impact the decade of the 20s, it's Alex Pietrangelo. So that's where I am on that. And I feel pretty good about that answer. But maybe you feel passionately about
I don't. Yeah, there's passion and ice hockey do not go together in my mind. But
do you have a final question in this Blues survey that you're dazzling the audience with?
Cardinals coming up next, but I got one last question for the Blues one.
Favorite sweater?
No, even though I think we all know where I'm at on that.
Where are you on that?
The old navy blue one that they used to wear that they got rid of. With
I thought you were going to go like an NHL team.
Oh, Maple Leafs.
Okay.
Coached by Dean Ellis.
Dean Ellis, of course.
My final question is, how differently do you think the Blues look right now had they been able to finish the 2020 season as normal? Had the 2020 season been played as normal, how different do you think the last couple of years play out?
I kind of like this question. I don't know on that.
Because I feel like the domino effect from that in particular, because they were really good 2020.
I know, but I don't know. I don't know if that changes like Pietrangelo situation, which I was just talking about. And Bouwmeester, it just happened. Not to say he'd be playing now, but I don't know. I don't know on that. I don't know if the strategy is different. I mean, this is a team that was on the precipice of beating what I think is one of the best Stanley Cup winners we've seen in the 21st century. They really were. I mean, that Saturday night in Binnington and Kadri that's a defining moment. I know plenty of people attach malice to it. I was more irritated when Craig Berube somehow became a bigot because of his post-game comments, because I don't know if Kadri had malice, but I know he had history with the Blues and other people throughout the game. And then Craig Berube makes that observation, and the next thing you know, he's getting hit with crap. But, that's the Blues is battling a Stanley Cup winner, and that wasn't long ago. I mean, so the 2020 season, that was a great team. And that's super unfortunate the way it played out. I just don't know how much changes as far as what the makeup of the roster is now in 2024. If anything, it might have been tougher to get rid of
some of those guys, yeah. If they went on another
O'Reilly,
run.
Tarasenko, but maybe the relationship with Tarasenko would have been better, but Tarasenko's about to move again here in the next week, so it's not like he's, found a home somewhere and shine bright yet. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I just know Blues fans feel like that team could have made it back-to-back. It was good enough to make it back-to-back, and that's why that really sucks that the season shut down when it did. 10:33 in St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers. Jackson pivots to a Cardinal survey coming up in the second half of Balloon Party here on 101 ESPN. James Carlton, Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency is my insurance agent. And if you type his name in a search engine, you are going to see 360 five-star reviews on Google. That is the kind of customer service James and his staff practice at the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency in Webster Groves. I mean, think about it, honestly. How often in general in service do you go, that was so good, I'm going to go post a Google review? And then with an insurance agent, I mean, we're really now going. So that speaks to why I say what I say about James. He's my insurance agent. I switched. I'm thrilled with it. It is so nice to know that anytime there is some kind of an emergency for our family, and obviously it's important because it is something we have insured, that I can reach out to James or somebody at his office and know it's going to be taken care of. It's James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, 314-961-4800. Go online at carltoninsurance.net.
This is Action Jackson with a SportsCenter update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues play tomorrow as they take on the Minnesota Wild. You can catch that game right here on the home of the Blues, 101 ESPN, pregame at 4 p.m. Puck drops at 5 p.m. And last night, the Spurs defeat the Thunder 132-118. Victor Wembanyama 28 points and 13 rebounds. That was our SportsCenter update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome back. Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you. And to the top of the hour, if you want to go back and podcast the first half of the show in which Jackson threw a breaking ball, freezing the audience with his blues-centric survey. Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's podcast on the 101 ESPN app and the TMA STL app. It's there for you as well. Jackson, now you're switching to the Cardinals here for your survey.
Yeah, well, we'll be first pitch for the season in LA will be pretty soon. So
nice. Well said.
Well, thank you. Figured that we answer some questions about this very ball club. Which Cardinal are you most confident in performing optimally in 2024?
Oh, nice question. I like the question.
It's tougher than you think. Now, you can be most confident. I like that a lot. You can be most confident in them and still not consider yourself confident. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a relative scale.
I'm going to go Nolan Arenado.
That was my answer as well.
I feel like it's chalk, but I got to give the audience what I think, and that's what I think.
Yeah, but who else can you, like, with facts behind it, definitively say, like, I am confident in them, and not just a feeling? Like Sonny Gray, but this is a new team, new division he's going to be playing, new opponents.
I feel pretty good about Sonny Gray, but, I mean, as far as who I'm most confident in, I would go Nolan Arenado. Yeah, I mean, otherwise, I still think, you kind of got some floors on guys. That's why there aren't any real decisions of, position player rotation substance going on at spring training. So, therefore, there has to be some semblance of a floor. I suppose Mason Wynn doesn't have a major league floor yet, but I'd just be shocked if he just couldn't make the adjustment after a couple of months in the major leagues and just looks like he's flailing. So, yeah, I'm going Arenado, Jackson.
Yeah,
which I realize is odd in the sense that he's coming off a down year, but I don't know. That's where I'm going to go.
I saw an Instagram reel this morning saying we need to bring back villain Nolan Arenado, and it was like a compilation put over a hip-hop song where he's getting all fired up at the pitcher with the thing with the Cubs a couple of years ago. Back when he was the Rockies, charging the mound, screaming at people.
Maybe that's the guy you're going to get.
That's
he feels
who I
like
want.
He's on a mission this year.
That's who I want. I want him holding nothing back. Next question I have for you, Tim. If the Cardinals were in the East or West division of the National League, do you think they would have handled the offseason differently?
Yes, I do. I don't know how aggressive they would be comfortable being financially with the situation they have, but I always go back to the television thing. But since they are relying on attendance revenue this year, with the uncertainty with the television revenue, they're counting on the team being competitive. And I would be surprised if this team would win the National League East or the National League West. And yet, if I had to bet, I would say they're going to win the National League Central. So that's a weird position to be in, which shows you the discrepancy between the divisions.
Yeah. Yep. Which of the younger players do you think will make the biggest impact this season? For younger, I'll say Newt Bar and below. I'm going to go with Mason Wynn. This is my answer as well.
Really? Oh,
I was actually torn between Wynn and Gorman. So Jordan Walker not being in there is maybe something to think about. But I think Gorman...
I certainly thought about him, but I think Wynn... I don't know. I think maybe because of offensively it was bad in the handful of games he played last year, that maybe it's kind of being overlooked. And then you have the Edmund question mark, and then there's Crawford there at that position. But I don't think that that's anything but because of the Edmund situation. I just think there's so much raw ability there that he is going to be a fan favorite.
And he's got so much speed. Like, that's something I don't feel like we've had in a while with some of the position players. Like, good players, don't get me wrong, Arenado and Goldie are great players. They're not getting you a lot of stolen bases. Mason Wynn, I saw he hit a double either yesterday or the day before, and he got to second base in just no time flat. Like, he can move. He's so dynamic in the field. And I think if he can hit for average, he's going to be really lethal. So I'm on the same page with you. I also think Gorman could be like a 35-plus home run guy year in and year out. So I like those two. Same question I had for you on the Blues, but I'm going to ask you about the Cardinals. What do you think the Cardinals' biggest regret is over the last 5 years?
I don't have the Petrangelo one coming to mind right away, so I'm going to phone a friend, and my friend is you. What do you think the answer is? Because I'm not having anything immediately come to mind.
I think firing Mike Schilt.
Oh, I don't think they don't think that. I know that. Well, I don't say I know that. I feel confident that they don't view it that way. I mean, I haven't come up with an answer, so me just crapping on yours is sports talk radio.
Yeah, it is. It's really, that's the internet. It's like, let me crap on you, and I'll provide nothing.
But
it's a tough one.
I don't want to say. I feel like I'm not coming. I'm also cheating by not signing Bryce Harper. Somebody said I don't know if they were ever really seriously looking at that. Trading for Ozuna predates 5 years, but we're getting a few trading for Ozunas.
I think there's a little revisionist history on that, honestly. Just because
in what capacity?
They needed offense badly, and he provided offense when he was here.
Yeah, but you got to think about who they traded to get him.
Yeah, no, I get, but at the time, you have to think like.
No, I did, but I mean, I was. I was there, but I mean, Derek Gould would come on and we'd do 2-hour conversations on the podcast. I mean, we would go deep, and hey, man, he knew the Cardinals wanted Yelich. That's who they wanted more than Stanton, who they did trade for, but Stanton didn't want to come here. And then it's like, okay, the Marlins are doing this fire sale deal. I guess we'll take Ozuna because they're not going to trade Yelich. And then a month later, they traded him to the Brewers. But it's who they traded to get him. I was listening to a Zach Gallen interview this week. He was on a golf podcast. He plays a bunch out in Arizona with Colton Ost. And he grew up a Cardinal fan, even though I think he's a Jersey guy.
I remember something about that.
And he went to North Carolina.
Right.
And he's just like, yeah, anytime I get a chance to pitch against them, I want to shove it up their backsides because that means they didn't believe in me. Hey, whatever. I mean, the Cardinals obviously wish that they would still have Zach Gallen.
Yeah, someone just texted the right answer, I'm afraid.
What is it? Yeah, I feel like I'm missing an obvious. What is it?
Trading Randy Arozarena.
That's where I was actually going. I know I could say that now, but that's where I was going. The thing is, I guess that still is within 5 years, but it's getting close to being outside of that, and that was the 2019 playoffs. That was just... Here's the reason why that bothers me as much as it does, because it was an innocent mistake, and I guess maybe I feel like people would have understood, even though they would have been irritated, going, "Hey, he made a mistake and it embarrassed our manager." I don't know how you handle it, but they've said that wasn't the reason he was traded. But man, at this point, don't you want to say it was the reason he was traded? Because holy crap,
it's only going to hurt your talent evaluation.
I still feel like there's got to be a signing that was worse than that.
Yeah, I actually think on the Ozuna thing, I think the bigger mistake is never really replacing his offensive production. Ever since he's left, I guess Jordan Walker has been the guy to replace, but that came from inside the clubhouse, inside the organization. They've never really replaced what Marcell Ozuna did at the plate in the outfield.
No one will say a word about Arozarena if Libby takes off in the next year or two. Yeah, I'm just going to disagree with that because Randy Arozarena at this point has proven it at the major league level and been pretty damn consistent at the major league level since then. And that is now 5 years worth. And hey, that's not to say Liberatore won't, but at the very least, we know what we do have, and that is the tangible data on what Randy Arozarena has done. So, if anything, it'll be like, for example, if you can take yourself back to when the Cardinals acquired Jordan Montgomery and Harrison Bader wasn't even playing for the Yankees in New York, they were freaking out because Montgomery came over here and he was dealing Cy Young caliber stuff. Plus, he shut out the Yankees, his first start in St. Louis against New York. And then Bader gets healthy and plays, and then he becomes like a postseason hero for the Yankees. And it was a case where both fan bases, I think, okay, that worked, I still, even if Liberatore goes off, it's going to take a lot of going off for people to forget about a Rosarena. And again, I think a lot of that is because it wasn't a baseball thing.
Yeah, avoidable. It was avoidable.
It was an Instagram live that the Cardinals said it wasn't an Instagram live. And I guess, hey, maybe they're being honest. I just don't personally. I wish I could bet that.
Hook me up to a lie detector, I'm going to tell you.
I wish I could bet that. All right, we'll break. Final segment coming your way as we continue the Cardinal survey here on Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Welcome back. Final segment of Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you here on the program. Jackson, you have been administering surveys today. They have been glorious. You have time for maybe 2 questions before BK and Ferrario come in, top of the hour.
Sure. Keeping it going on this little Cardinal survey. Why not? What do you think is more likely? The Cardinals win the Central or Ollie Marmol gets fired at some point during the season? And to be fair, both could happen.
Cardinals win the Central.
All right. I think there's a possibility that both happen.
Well, I agree with you. As you know, I operate solely in percentages.
Arbitrary sometimes.
Very. I've been compared to Taylor from Billions.
Hairstyles,
look, but
demeanor.
Demeanor of motionless bot, unrelatable to all.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, both can happen. I just think that the Central sucks so bad, and it's so. We could be in an awkward spot. There was a year in particular I remember when I'm like, okay, they're winning, but look who they're beating. And it's like, that doesn't matter who their major league teams. I'm like, but I think they've only played the Pirates, like the Globetrotters and Generals. We have to look at this. And then I tell you, I can actually remember which year it was, 2004. If you look at Baseball Reference and the 2004 Cardinals, they started off somewhat sluggishly, but if you were watching all the games, and I went to all the home games, that was my gig that year for television, I would work 7-day weeks. It didn't matter. So that's what I was doing, which was super fun to do, especially considering that team. The timing was great. But they started off slowly, but if you were watching it closely, you could tell they had it. Now, I didn't go, they're going to win 105 games, but you could tell. So a lot of it is, you'll get a sense for it early on. I mean, there was a soundbite from Ollie Marmol, I think some point in April last year when the Cardinals lost a game, and he goes, this loss will help us in September. And now it sounds ridiculous, but I have to tell you, it kind of sounded weird in April of last year. I think it was a day game against San Francisco or something. They had been swept. And clearly at that point, he was just grasping. So, yeah, he absolutely could get fired. I'm just saying, man, if he gets fired, it's like a self-indictment of the front office because he's their guy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And they've had some self-indictments.
That's the thing. Ever since La Russa left, there's been a lot of self-indictments in the manager's position. So, but if you go what I think is more likely, I think it's the Cardinals winning the Central.
I'm with you on that. And
it's the least enthusiastic I've been about a Cardinal division winner, perhaps in my career. Yeah. But,
I am excited about the season. I'll be honest.
Sure, I'm looking forward to the season, but if I'm looking at it through the lens of do I think this team can be a great regular season team, it would really surprise me. As a St. Louisan and a Cardinal fan, I'll certainly be pulling for them, but if I don't see it, I'll also say it, even if it's not a popular opinion.
There you go.
There you go, Jackson.
My final question, and it's not in the Cardinal survey, is a quick hitter.
Oh, wow. Sometimes these are the best questions, and they come in at 10:57. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers.
Who would be the guest you would most want to talk to that isn't an athlete or a sports adjacent?
This is such a great question. This is more of a Tim McKernan Show podcast question.
Yeah. So the guest you would most want to talk to that isn't an athlete or sports adjacent personality, but you still talk about sports.
All right, what's your answer? Buying time, man. I'm curious.
Larry David. Talk about sports.
It's a nice answer. It's a great answer. Yeah, you talk golf. Although I heard him on with Simmons, and he was just so detached throughout that interview.
I think I think that was at the tail end of the curb of the tour, and he was cooked. Man.
I hate this because I want to give a great answer.
I also have a second answer, and I don't know if you'll pick up on it, but I know some people out there will. Action Bronson. He's a rapper from Queens.
Well, no, I know who he is, but...
Oh, he's got encyclopedia knowledge of random sports stuff.
Okay, all right.
And he often puts it into his lyrics, and I love it.
You could have given me 10,000 guesses, and I don't think that's where I would have gone. So this is a non-sports guest, but we will talk sports.
Or sports adjacent, but you get to shoot the breeze about sports with them on the pod.
I got a couple that are just coming to mind. I mean, Seinfeld, even though I'm not a Seinfeld guy, it's only because I haven't watched it, which is really weird, but I was in college, and it's, when you're not sitting in front of the TV on Thursday nights in Columbia, Missouri. But I know he's a huge Mets fan.
Yeah.
Artie Lang through the lens of the insanity along with the degenerate gambling. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I was doing the show with him, he was asking me questions about going to Missouri. I mean, he's from New York and care one way or the other, but it was like, boy, it had to be great to be going to a school where you got a big football program, a big basketball program. It would be so much fun. I don't know what the crap we have here. It's
a really good argument.
Was that good?
Yes. It sounds like him.
Yeah, weird as BS. And so that'd be one, but I'm sure I can. Let me see.
There's a couple really good answers up in here.
Yeah, I was about to say, I bet Bill Murray's a nice play. I don't know how great of an interview he would be. He's not exactly. Yeah. John Hamm, I have interviewed, and that guy loves sports. John Hamm is a nice play. College football with Elvis? Just say Sydney Sweeney. It's a good answer.
Always a good answer. She's into cars.
What's that?
She fixes cars. She's really into
is that
cars.
right?
Yeah. She restored a Bronco.
Sydney Sweeney, Casey Musgraves, Saturday Night Live tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know, let me make this crystal clear. I'm a man in love, and I would never soil the sanctity of my marital vows.
Yeah, you're Marty Monogamy.
That's who I am. Mm-hmm. I actually said that in my marital vows. But let's say both Sydney Sweeney and Casey Musgraves were interested in you. And you, of course, are a man in love right now, and it's wonderful to see. And I know all the ladies in the audience are disappointed. Yeah. But you were given that option. Which direction are you going?
I've been...
You're going Sydney Sweeney.
Sid, yeah, for the longest.
This Casey Musgraves, and here's the thing. Obviously, both are beautiful. But I kind of... Her vibe.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on that vibe with her.
Yeah.
Something's going on there.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, listen. I
think she's looking for a 47-year-old married father of two who does a 1-hour midday show in St. Louis.
But he tells you how it is.
Yeah, but he'll tell you how it is. The media in this town is soft. It's embarrassing.
Yep. Yep.
That's what that's, oh my God.
Yep.
That's what I want. It's an aphrodisiac. All right, I got to go. Jackson, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you to our listeners for listening, our viewers for viewing. For Jackson Burkett, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been Balloon Party at 101 ESPN.